Now, you ask me, what have they done? They opened the border and have allowed 30 million people into America. Over 1 million Venezuelans. They're ravishing our country, their gangs. Haitians, over 500,000 Haitians, 200,000 Chinese nationals, a very significant majority of them PLA soldiers. 250,000 special interest aliens, those are terrorists, have been arrested and released. Over 500,000 unaccompanied alien children have been brought into America and released and lost. They don't know where they are. What you're seeing under Donald Trump, he's attempted to assassinate him twice, but now it's become normal. So when the third, fourth, fifth, sixth time happens, people are going to go, oh, they try to kill Trump again. Think about that. Think about our world, that the world we live in now. It is a world without justice. It is a world or a country that has become godless. It is a nation, and we have been coward and bent a knee to mental patients. We have mental patients running our country. Look at Rachel Levine, who is Mark Levine, who's over our health care in America, is a man. Yes, a man that is fat and wears a dress and thinks he's a woman. And he is laying down policies and helping to create laws that override or have the ability to dictate our lives to us. 10 years ago, we would have laughed that guy into a mental institution. You don't have to like it, but it does not change. Your feelings do not change facts.
In today's episode, a retired Border Patrol officer with 24 years of experience, also author of the book, Invaded. Also, he's the man behind the documentary, Trafficked, available in thisistreason.com, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But let's welcome JJ Carrell.
Thank you. When you asked me, I was very happy to come back. I enjoyed our conversation last time. I look forward to this one. Even though it's a very dark subject that we're going to talk about, it has to be discussed, and it has to be discussed in open and bold terms.
And let's get right into it. Hey, JJ, what motivates you to do this documentary, Trafficked?
Okay, so when we did What is Treason, this is under This is Treason website, we went out to do one documentary on the invasion of the southern border. We knew that we were going to cover the invasion, who did it, how they do it, who's responsible, human suffering, human trafficking, and we knew we were going to have to talk about child sex trafficking. What we expected, Julio, was on this journey that we would uncover child sex trafficking to a degree that it began to completely overwhelm our documentary, to the point that I got a call, it's now 6 weeks ago. Ryan Matta, my business partner, says to me, he does all the editing, does all the packaging. He's incredible, actually a genius. And he said, I can't do it. I can't put this child sex trafficking in the Invaded documentary because it won't fit. The child sex trafficking is so big, we just can't. And I said, okay, well, what are you saying? He said, we have enough footage to prove that the United States federal government is the world's largest child sex trafficking organization in modern history. And I said, okay, do we need to go out and film some more? Because I thought we had planned to go and do some more filming for child sex trafficking for the next documentary, the one we were going to put out in about 9 months to a year. He goes, no, we have every bit of evidence right now on tape. And he said, then it became a moral question. Which one do we do first? Everybody's expecting Invaded. What is treason? Invaded. And we both said, well, we can't sit here and say, hey, we have all the evidence to convict the federal government of child sex trafficking, and kids are being raped right now as we speak, but we're going to hold it off for another month or two. No. So we said, we got to edit this as fast as we can. So Ryan edited this, which I believe is a masterpiece. I just got off another podcast right before I came on yours, and it was Redacted, Clayton Morris, and he said it's the greatest documentary I've ever seen. And I've heard that from almost everyone that I've got a review from. And then what's shocking is everyone says, not everyone, but I would say about 75, 80% of all my reviews say, I've watched it twice. And I'm like, watched it twice? Why would anybody watch that twice? Why would anybody watch any documentary twice? Right? No, I know I missed it. It was so much. I had to go back. So you asked me what was my driving force? My driving force was I didn't know. Me and Ryan Matted, we didn't know what we had until we got back. We actually made an agreement about a quarter way to a third way through filming Invaded. We were like, hey, man, child sex trafficking is so huge. Let's make a deal. If God allows us to sell enough of these downloads and DVDs on Invaded, and we can take the profit and go film the child sex trafficking. That's because it takes, as you know, it takes an exorbitant amount of money, an exorbitant amount of time, effort in editing. It's a process. It's a eat your soul process on good topic, not on an evil topic like child sex trafficking. So we had no idea. We had no idea this is what we're going to do. And then it became, we have to do it. We have to do it. And then Ryan said, I'll do it. And then a 1A film festival called us and said, hey, we hear you're doing this through the grapevine. Can we premiere it? And I was like, that's a month away. Like, there's no way. And Ryan said, I'm just going to do it. I said, it should take you months to do this, dude. He goes, no, I'm going to do it in a week. I mean, in 4 weeks, I'm just going to do it. Stay up all night. I'm going to do it. And we premiered it at a film festival about 10 days ago, won the director's award. And then we got extended standing ovation. Just people couldn't believe what they were watching. And it is hard. It's hard. You told me that your wife had a very difficult time watching it. I've had several of my friends say they had to walk away and then come back and finish. They had to. They could not finish it. Some people, like the people that at the movie at this beautiful theater that we premiered it at, I sat down at the bottom of the theater and just had the screen to my back, and I just watched people's reaction because I wanted to see where the weak points were, where we could change things for the next one. Nobody moved for an hour and 46 minutes. Just sat there. They couldn't believe it. But there are some people that have to get up and let what they just saw digest in their brain and then come back for more. But that's how we got to this point. I never expected this, Julio. I never expected to be standing in front. I thought I was going to be in the time frame, a timeline that you and I would be discussing. Hey, I'm going to release this movie about being invaded. It's going to come out on October 10th. You got to go see it. Never would I have anticipated or thought that I'm going to be going to your show talking about, I just released a child sex trafficking documentary. Never.
Do you believe that our current administration is betraying or committing treason against his own people and basically violating the Constitution?
Well, when you and people, lawyers will come in and they'll parse the words of treason, right? They'll say, well, you have to be at war and you have to do this and you have to do that. No, really, treason is harming the body of your country for personal gain or professional gain or whatever, to destroy your country, to hurt it. Now, you ask me, what have they done? They opened the border and have allowed 30 million people into America. Over 1 million Venezuelans. They're ravishing our country, their gangs. Haitians, over 500,000 Haitians, 200,000 Chinese nationals. A very significant majority of them are PLA soldiers. 250,000 special interest aliens, those are terrorists, have been arrested and released. Over 500,000 unaccompanied alien children have been brought into America and released and lost. They don't know where they are. You are having NGOs, non-governmental organizations, funded by the federal government and employed by the federal government to transport illegal aliens, 30 million of them, into America at the tune of tens of not hundreds of billions of dollars, and they are all registering them all to vote. Illegal aliens to vote in our elections. This is happening in America. So when you look at the totality of treason, what else is treason? Going down to Central American and South American countries and building brick and mortar facilities to help encourage and facilitate illegal aliens on their journey to America. That is documented. Mayorkas has admitted it on multiple television shows that he has done that. Treason is going down to countries across the world, putting them on planes, flying them into the United States in the dark of night, and releasing them into America and not putting them in any category in DHS. That has been admitted. It has been proven through FOIA requests that they are doing it. They have openly admitted it. What else would you call this? And that's an open question to your audience. You may not like me. You don't like the way I talk. You don't like the way that I created a documentary or the way I'm trying to sell it, whatever. Tell me where I'm wrong in saying the federal government and the people that are running our federal government are evil and they're traitors. I want you to combat what I've said. I want to learn. If I'm wrong, I want to hear why I'm wrong. But every time I do these interviews, Julio, and every time I go on Spaces on X and people have questions, and I ask that question, it's dead silence, Julio. Dead silence. And you're an expert at being a podcaster. A second, 2 seconds, 5 seconds of dead air feels like 5 years. It's the death. So I just sit here and I look at the guest, excuse me, the podcast host, or I sit there on a Spaces on X and I just let it hang. All that silence, that uncomfortable silence, I let it hang there because you don't have an answer for me. You have nothing else. Maybe your feelings or diversity is a strength or some other BS crap that you want to spew to me. No, I want to know where I'm wrong. Where am I wrong on this? I want to know. And if you don't have an answer for me, maybe you should look into what I'm saying because I have an answer. It's backed on experience, 24 years in the Border Patrol, writing a book for a year, now doing documentaries, heavily researching everything I'm speaking to you about today. I'm not flying off the when I used to go on podcasts and stuff at the very beginning, I was a little nervous, right? Because this is my first time. I have no nerves now. You know why I don't have any nerves? Because everything I'm speaking is the truth. It just flies right off of my. I know the data. I know the statistics. I know all the. I don't know everything because I can't. I'm always learning. But I do know when I'm speaking to someone, I'm speaking the truth. I don't stumble. You rarely hear me stumble on my words or not know what to say because I know what I'm talking about. I'm not making this crap up. And Julio, honestly, I left the United States Border Patrol. I didn't want to leave. I had a couple more years left in me, good, solid years in leadership roles where I could have made a difference. There was no way I was going to work under Joe Biden for another day. I worked under him for months and I saw the unconstitutional orders that I had to follow and I would not do it. So I would love this to be President Trump's in office. You and I are discussing the border secure. There's no kids being trafficked. This is great. This is great for legal immigrants. This is great for America. And have written a book about the greatest border president in the history of America, Donald Trump. But no, I'm here talking to you about children being raped in America, illegal alien children being raped in America, and we facilitated. We paid for it all. And I'm telling you, Americans that are watching this, the government is you. You are complicit in this. You may watch this documentary and you're going to be left with one question. It's a very important question. What are you going to do? You're going to remain silent? If you do, you're complicit. Or are you going to get involved? And being involved is just simply talking about it, not being afraid to say what needs to be said in polite company. Because we have to address this head on. Or you're going to have continued treason. Kamala Harris wins on a stolen election, and you're going to have bloodshed in the streets. You already have it there. Now it's just a matter of how much can Americans stomach, and I don't know the answer to that.
In regards of the federal government, do you think the federal government is already corrupt beyond repair, or we still got some hope, and we can still kind of correct the current state of our federal government?
Well, I think I've thought about this for long and hard, and for about a year after coming out of the Border Patrol and going on speaking tours and stuff like that, I had no answer. People asked me, and I would tell them, I don't know. I just don't know because the electoral system is so corrupt. No one believes that it's legitimate, right? We're looking at Donald Trump and saying, well, he might win. What there's 50,000 people in auditoriums listening to him speak, and Kamala Harris has AI doctored photos trying to show that there's people there. Same thing with Joe Biden. President Trump won that election by a landslide. But does anybody trust the electoral system? So what do you do? And then I was given a speech via Zoom on Turning Point USA chapter in Georgia Southern University. And this was right after Laken Riley was murdered by the illegal alien from Venezuela. And I was doing my research, and I'm watching Mr. and Mrs. Riley at a city council meeting demanding that all sanctuary city laws be removed. And that's when it hit me. Oh, how could you be so stupid, JJ? Of course, that's the answer. The founding fathers told you what the answer was. The answer is the lowest level of government is the most efficient part of government there is. So you asked me, what do we do? Well, each town and city, small town and small county in America, you go and you make sure your city council has American First people on it. You have America First mayor, and the mayor appoints the chief of police, and the sheriff is voted in. And you make sure that that body, that city council, mayor, chief of police, and sheriff is America First. That will never, ever allow illegal aliens into your city. You will never allow NGOs to pump tens of thousands of illegal aliens into your city, in your county. And now I own a county. You don't think that's a big deal? It's a big deal. Because what's going to happen is the next county over is going to say, I want to be like them. And now I have 2, 3, 4, 5 counties. And now I have a state. And then a state has rights that are not enumerated by the federal constitution. The federal government has enumerated rights. I don't have to ask the federal government for my rights. I just own them. Now you get 2, 3, 5, 10 states together. Now you have a revolution. Now you have a chance. So what you do is, I'm not saying you have to run for city council, but you find somebody in your group that will run. And then you tell that person, all you have to do is promise to be American First. Everyone else around you is they're going to go door to door knocking. We're going to fundraise, and we're going to get you in there. That's how you take over your community. And the moment that the mayor or somebody backslides, then you just walk up to him or her, and you just say, I want you to know, if you don't stop right now, I have 5 people that are going to run against you, and I have 1,000 people that are going to work day and night to remove you from office. It's your choice. That's power. This idea that we have to do it and we're going to do it alone, it's not going to happen. We didn't get here alone. We got here because the American public, and I will be more specific, the American man has become fat, lazy, and impotent, and they are cowards. And we have failed our women and children, and we have allowed our nation to fall into a moral rot. And there's no arguing that. Look around. It's a moral rot. You and I discussed earlier, you can't let your kids play outside without you watching them. I live in a very nice neighborhood. I have to be out there watching him. Because I'm a conspiracy nut or a helicopter father? No, actually, I think I'm a very good father. It's because I trust no one. And I don't think that's conspiratorial. I think that's being somebody that has more than 3 brain cells wrapped in their head. And Julio, also a thing that has to happen too, men like us and other men in our communities, they have to start speaking boldly. And they have to be unafraid of being called vile names and being outcast. I mean, if you know what the truth is and you remain silent, then you're the problem. And men need to speak very boldly about what they want and what they demand and what is right. If somebody comes up to you, like I tell my son, we see a man in a dress, he has a mental problem. We are not going to make fun of him or ridicule him in any way. We're never going to do that. However, if that same man comes up to us and demands that I call him ma'am and talk to him in his insane pronouns, I do not have to partake in that. And I don't even have to be kind, because I think civility is a lost art form, and they're not civil to us, so I'm not going to be civil back because they're trying to destroy my country. I will speak very boldly, sir, you have a mental condition. You look ridiculous. I am here to help you. And outside of that, I got nothing else to say to that guy. But because we have been told, no, you need to play along in this insane asylum. This United States of America has bubbled in a sane asylum. And I have to act as if this man is normal in any way. In any way. I become crazy because I become a part of the problem. I'm not crazy. I don't believe you could wear a dress and be a woman. I don't believe you can cut off your genitals and be an opposite sex. You can't. Your DNA is XX or XY. That's it. You can't change it. And I'm not going to partake in the insanity. You fly your LGBTQ flags in our houses of worship. You've aborted over 60 million babies inside the womb and outside the vaginal canal. You mutilate children's bodies to turn them into monsters with a suicide rate of 19 times the normal rate. You have allowed grown men in dresses, in satanic costumes, with their privates hanging out, parading around our streets, reading to our children in libraries in our public schools. Why and how did we get to this point? It's because the men have remained silent and we have been coward and bent a knee to mental patients. We have mental patients running our country. Look at Rachel Levine, who is Mark Levine, who's over our health care in America, is a man. Yes, a man that is fat and wears a dress and thinks he's a woman. And he is laying down policies and helping to create laws that override or have the ability to dictate our lives to us. 10 years ago, we would have laughed that guy into mental institution. We would never have put him at the highest positions in authority in our federal government. But that's where we've gone. And we've gone one step further and child sex trafficking. And no one wants to talk about it because it's dirty. It makes you uncomfortable, but it's happening right in America. Every single day, right now, the probability, Julio, of thousands, if not tens of thousands, it's a statistical, mathematical probability that tens of thousands of children are being raped right now as you and I speak.
Why the left is still continue this smear campaign against Donald Trump and also doing this, I would say, rhetoric about he's a threat to democracy and so forth. In my opinion, it brings a lot of hatred toward Donald Trump. We already seen so many attempts against his life, and I want to get your thoughts on it.
Well, I call it the normalization of chaos. And what you're seeing under Donald Trump, he's attempted to assassinate him twice, but now it's become normal. So when the third, fourth, fifth, sixth time happens, people are going to go, oh, they try to kill Trump again. Think about that. Think about our world, that the world we live in now. It is a world without justice. It is a world or a country that has become godless. It is a nation where we prey on the most vulnerable, which are our children. We prey on them. Okay, let me throw this statistic out to you, okay? And I've been interviewed about this, and I've interviewed people about this, and nobody knows the real number of children going missing in America. How is that possible? How does no one know how many children go missing in America? I can track mad cow disease. I can track a bad chicken all the way back to the hen house on the farm, exactly where that chicken came from. But we can't track children. Why is that? Because they don't want to track children. Right now, we're looking at numbers as wildly separate from 400 to 800,000 children go missing every year in America. Julio, I know where my son is right now. It's like almost 2:00 here in Kansas. So he's got to be getting close to his math class at the end of the day, and I'm going to go pick him up in about 45 minutes. Then we're going to go get a snack. We're going to work out together. Then we're going to have dinner, and we're going to read a book and say our prayers and go to bed. I don't lose my son. I don't lose him. So let's play the game of, let's just make this number easy to divide and subtract and multiply. 500,000 children every year are lost. So under Joe Biden, he has lost 2 million children, another 500,000 unaccompanied alien children. So now we're at 2.5 million. I have two questions for you. The first question, Julio, have you seen large groups of roaming children roaming through big cities and small towns across America with no parents, living in shanties, having dirty, tattered clothes and no food? The answer is no. Never. We never see it. So the biggest and most important question is very simple. Where the hell are all these children? Where are they? Let's play the game that I'm crazy. And it's not, these are, the data I just gave you is from our own government, the government the left loves. Let's say that I'm crazy, 50% crazy. 2.5 million now goes to 1.25 million. Are you okay with that number? Let's say I'm even bonkers. Let's say I'm 90%. 90%. In the last 4 years, are you okay with us losing 250,000 children? Are you? Where are they? I'm going to quote President Trump. A lot of them are already dead, end quote. Because when you go into and you watch my documentary, I talk about this. When you look at child trafficking, you have to look at it in three different parts. The first part is sex trafficking and labor trafficking. The second part is organ harvesting. And the third part is child sacrifice. And I can already hear people say, that's crazy, man. There's no organ harvesting. There's no child sacrifice. Okay. You just aborted 60 million children. The children that are being aborted by Planned Parenthood, they're ripping the body parts off the child and selling them. It's already been documented. It's not even up for debate. They're already selling organs through Planned Parenthood. The people I've talked to said the thing that you're also not discussing, JJ, is you keep focusing on the trafficking of the children from the south to the north. You have to understand that there are cartels in America that are kidnapping our children, and the traffic goes north to south. And they're taking our children, they're taking them to Mexico, and then they are flying them to Africa. Why Africa? Well, that's where they harvest the organs. And why? Why are you not kidnapping African children and Latin American children? They're throwaway kids. There's thousands, tens of thousands just living in the streets. Why don't you go get them? Because for whatever reason in the organ harvesting community, and I talked to a nurse just the other day about this too, is they believe that the children of America, they're less parasitic. So therefore their organs have a greater chance of surviving and thus are more money. So our children are being kidnapped. Again, go back to that, Julio. 2.5 million in 4 years. Where are they? Where are they? Let's go back a decade, 10 years. 500,000 in 10 years? 5 million children? Where are they? Did they grow up? Did they become adults and talk about their abuse? I don't see them. Where are they? Some of them, at least 10 of 5 million would come out and say, hey, this is what's happening. Where are they? I have a very broad group, cross section of people I talk to every day. No one's telling me, JJ, yeah, I used to that happened to me and happened to my sister and a bunch of friends I know. No, nobody talks. No one has any idea who these kids are. And if that's the case, then maybe we should look at the fact that they're not only just being trafficked sexually or labor, they're being killed. Has anybody asked where all these child organ donors are? They're always anonymous, aren't they? Why are they anonymous? There's a lot of questions that need to be asked, and I've asked them, and I get no answers. No one has an answer, and I think they're honest questions. Where are the children? What's happened to them? Why does our government have no resources for them? Why does outside the FBI, who has a child crime unit, and maybe the big cities, but even there, they're understaffed and underfunded. Why is that? You spend billions, hundreds of billions of dollars, maybe $1 trillion a year on the war on drugs, federal, state, and local. You have a department called the DEA that oversees everything. And yet you have nothing, no department, no budget, no apparatus to track and help lost children. Why is that? I think that's an honest question, a valid question to ask. And the answer is, and your audience is not going to want to hear this, and I prove it in my documentary, and I have people that know are speaking out loud, that your government, your senators, congressmen, presidents, and vice presidents, and people in the cabinets and your local state government are pedophiles. A significant percentage of our leaders in all fabric of society are pedophiles. And the people that are up there, meaning the other non-pedophile individuals, they know about the pedophilia and they say nothing. So then they become complicit and then they can be blackmailed. How do you think Epstein's allowed to do what he did? And now P. Diddy.
As we saw the border, as you well known and everybody know nowadays, we got so many children missing from the border, and the cartels and NGOs and criminal organization are moving so many people through the border. But why cartels and criminal organization rather move to children and human trafficking instead of drugs like cocaine and heroin? Why they move to traffic, specifically children for, you know what? But why they do that now?
Okay, well, these kids are not taken, they don't get holidays and weekends off. They don't. So a child can be sexually trafficked 5 to 20 times a day. 5 to 20 times a day. Why do you think the drug cartels are now into human smuggling? They never were before. Everyone knew that. This is a known fact. I lived it in the Border Patrol. Narco smugglers actually looked down on human smugglers. It was a dirty business. Why? Because if I can ship over cocaine or heroin, once that person uses my cocaine and heroin, I can't resell it. But for about the same price, I can sell a 5-year-old boy from Guatemala 20 times. And then I'll resell him until he gets raped to death and dies. And who's going to look for Johnny? Does anybody have any idea who he is? No one knows. He's in some database in HHS, but there's no tracking. So there's no one going out and tracking Johnny to see if Johnny's okay. Do you understand? I think this is a point that has to be articulated. Right now, 450,000 children have been arrested and released. We're going to hit 500,000 by the time Joe Biden leaves. The federal government has admitted that they lost 320,000 of them. So that means 130,000 children are accounted for. Let me tell your audience what being accounted for details. I released a child, an NGO releases a child to a cartel member in New York. Within 30 days, I have to call that sponsor and ask where Johnny is. Yeah, who am I speaking with? Okay, this is cartel smuggler A. Okay, sir, is Johnny there? Yes, he is. He's doing okay? Yes. Okay, thank you. The third party actually types in Johnny's okay. Is Johnny okay? Is Maria okay? No. I'm trying to tell you how absurd this is. How absurd, and everyone inside these government agencies knows the absurdity of it, and they keep doing it. I'll give you another statistical data point will drive home what you're saying. Okay, the reason why we had kids in cages. Remember that under Trump, kids in cages. Well, the genesis was President Obama. So President Obama wouldn't allow us, the Border Patrol, to separate parents and their kids. Okay, but the way that we did it under Trump is we had DNA testing. So when you came over and you were some dude that's like 25 years old and you got 3 kids or a child, we knew it wasn't yours, we would either break you, that wasn't your child, or we'd DNA test you. And then we'd separate you. And then we would deport you and then take care of the child. At Trump's last year in office, he was averaging about 10 to 15,000 unaccompanied alien children. That's a lot. But because over a course of a year, we could handle that, we had policies, regulations in place. It was very stringent, very, very regulated. We knew who they were going to. The sponsors were vetted. The people in the House were vetted. Everything was vetted and clean. Biden's first year in office, not year 3, the first year in office, he arrested and released over 120,000 unaccompanied alien children. In the first 2 months, he had already had 20,000. In less than a month and a half, he surpassed a whole year of Donald Trump. And he did nothing to stop it. Like you're saying, why? Why do we not see any more raids or arrests of pedophiles? Because they don't exist. They don't happen. Our federal government under Joe Biden, who is mentally deficient, and Kamala Harris, who is the border czar, arrested over 120,000 children and released them all the first year. And they have increased that amount every year over year to now we're going to eclipse 500,000 by the time Joe Biden leaves office in January. And nothing, not one single thing in the law enforcement apparatus has been used to stop it. In fact, and you see it in our documentary, where the Secretary of Health and Human Services, Javier Becerra, is lambasting this other evil person named Miss Marcos, who's she has a long title, but she's over Office of Refugee Resettlement. And she's in charge of moving the children. And Javier Becerra said in an email, if you can't move these kids faster, I will find someone who can. And then on a recorded Zoom meeting, Javier Becerra said, Mr. Ford of the car empire could not have become wealthy if he was moving his widgets or his cars the same way we move kids, speed it up. And I bring that and I show that in my documentary because I'm saying to you, American people, I am giving you proof, undisputed proof, that our federal government is trafficking children, knowingly trafficking children. On some spectrum of the law, they are guilty. Either it be someone in the low end or someone like Javier Becerra and Mayorkas and Biden and Harris on the top end and need to be dealt with swiftly. Why would someone in a position of power want to expedite the trafficking of children to people that we do not know, we have not vetted? We have also found out, and I have this in my documentary, where a gentleman named Aaron Stevenson was a military analyst and was employed under the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Service, USCIS, and he was tracking these children and found, oh my God, transnational cartels, gangs from Romania, from Venezuela, from Mexico, from Colombia, all over the globe, found a loophole in the sponsorship program and they're exploiting it. Instead of giving him a promotion and saying, I need you to train everybody about what's happening, what did they do? They fired him. And then what did they do to patch the holes that he exposed? Nothing. The same gaps, the same vulnerabilities he warned about, they didn't close them. Why? It's not like we're talking about a few packages from Amazon got lost. We're talking right now, admitted 320,000 children have been lost and turned over to cartels, and nothing's been done. And I'm here to tell you that they just have not admitted to the full 500,000 being lost.
It's been reported that NGOs are posted across the border or across the path of where all these migrants are funneled through. But where they get the money from? Who's funding them? Who's paying for it? Can you bring some light and who's paying for it?
All the money comes from the federal government. At the end of 4 years, these are Joe Biden's numbers, not mine. He admits that it will cost the federal government over $700 billion on the low end and the high end over $1 trillion. We're already spent over $1 trillion. All of the NGOs are reimbursed by the federal government. Let me give you, in my documentary, we talk about this, but I'm going to show it more in the next documentary. I interviewed a guy and a gal from the DHS that was actually in Washington, D.C., sending the money to the NGOs. The NGOs are all cloaked in religion. It's Catholic Charities, Jewish Family Services, Lutheran Family Services, on and on and on. And I asked him, who were you responsible for? And she said, I was responsible for Jewish Family Services. Tell me what was the largest check you cut for Jewish Family Services? $600 million. And I said, for how long was that contract for? About 2 to 3 months. And then we'd re-up it. And I said, okay, hold on a second. Catholic Charities is bigger than Lutheran Family Services and Jewish Family Services. So they're getting the same or more. Yes. So that could put you into, okay. Every illegal alien that comes into America through the NGOs has to be COVID tested. Do you know how much money it costs me and you to get a COVID test? It's like $6, right, at Walgreens. NGOs are charging the federal government $2,000 COVID test. No, I'm not. And every time they move them, they test them again. So you're talking about federal government. Let me give you another statistic to make you go crazy. In New York City, you have a hotel called the Row Hotel. It holds 5,000 illegal aliens. It costs the city of New York $1 billion a year for one hotel. One person gets fed 3 meals a day, 365 days a year, and many of them have lived there for over 2 years. It costs about $30 a meal in New York. It costs the city of New York over $34,000 to $35,000 a year to feed one illegal alien. Julio, have you ever spent $35,000 a year to feed your whole family? No, not even close. Think of what we are spending. Do you know that all the illegal aliens in these shelters and in these hotels across America, do you know that they get same-day laundry service? Do you know that they get prepaid loaded debit cards? They're now showing debit cards with as much money as $20,000 to $30,000 on them. Okay? You and I are struggling. America is struggling. And your federal government has spent over $1 trillion on illegal aliens. And you have to keep coming back to this very simple 3-letter word in question. Why? Why would your government spend money it does not have on people that do not belong here? Why would your federal government allow them to come in? Why would your federal government go down to those nations and put them on planes and fly them into America? Why would you take 20,000 illegal Haitians, for example, and transplant them into a small town in Ohio that only has 38,000 residents? Why would you do that? Because you want to fundamentally transform the United States of America. And that is the only explanation. Our federal government is destroying our own nation, and therefore they are evil. And I say the label of treason and traitors lays squarely on them and perfectly on them. And I'm talking both parties, Democrat and Republican, because the Democrats carried it out, but the Republicans fund it. And they've been funding it for decades.
lately, conspiracy theories are just days or hours away to be uh, not debunked, but actually verified they're true most of the time. What do you think is that nowadays? It's just because I mean they're talking about, when you say something outrageous now, and then a few hours later or days later it came out to be truth. Why is that the state of mind?
It's true. Yep. Isn't that crazy? We're all crazy, but they're right. It's just, but I think what you're doing with your podcast and trying to get the word out, I think this is how it's done, Julio. I don't think people watch mainstream media anymore. I don't consume it. I used to be a big consumer of it. I don't. And I believe this is where people are getting the information. Look, I told you before when I came on your show before, and I'll say it again. Don't believe anything I say. Don't believe that I'm crazy. And then go try to find the information and try to disprove me. And you're going to be shocked. Or watch my documentary. And it's not me and Ryan Matta, my business partner, sitting there droning on about the evils of government. We're not even in the documentary hardly at all. It's all politicians. It's all whistleblowers. It's people that have been trafficked. It's people that know exactly what's going on, that have gone in front of Congress and testified under oath. And the way that my partner created this documentary is amazing. I know that I have never seen personally ever seen a documentary done this way. And what he's done is he has taken hundreds of people's words and pushed them together and said, look, it's not just me and JJ. This is everyone is saying what we've said. We've just had the courage, the wherewithal, and the knowledge to put it all together and to lay it out. We laid it out perfectly. This is a criminal act. This is treason. You don't have to like it, but it does not change. Your feelings do not change facts. These are facts that is happening in America by our federal government. And it's going to have, and it already has a direct impact on you through inflation, through crime, through demographic change, through going to your school. I have talked to so many people that have sent their kids to school, and their child is one of the very few that speak English. And the parents are freaking out. And I tell them, haven't I been telling you this? Do I sound as crazy as you thought I sounded 6 months ago? No, you don't sound crazy because I've seen it. I've seen it firsthand, and my child is being adversely affected by it. Too bad. That's my response. Too bad. You didn't want to get involved. And now your child is in kindergarten, first grade, fourth grade, and they're telling you you need to get a tutor because we're spending all the time for English as a second language. Your daughter's just falling behind. I'm sorry. Okay. Or you do what you do. You yank your kids out of those mental institutions and you teach them yourself. Does everybody have that ability? No. So what do? You have to take back your government. Our founding fathers told us what to do. Those men were geniuses. Those men were not cowards. They would be appalled at the American man today. Let me just tell you, I'm sure you know this, Julio, but right now, 30 million illegal aliens have been led into America. 60 to 70% of them are military-age men. That's about 18 to 20 million in America. Military-age men, 18 to 26. Our men, our United States American men, 18 to 26. Do you know that 77% of them cannot join our military because they are obese, drug addicts, or physically or emotionally impaired? And 50% of that 77% have two or more of those ailments. 77% of our males are fat, lazy, cowardly, obese individuals. Now, the big question, the really, really big question, when those 18 million go against our 30 million, those 18 million alpha males that have been coming from war-torn nations and they are used to violence, how do our beta males fair against the alphas. It will be a bloodbath. Our men don't even know if they can get pregnant or not. They don't even know if they're a man or a woman. And these savages, and they are savages, from the Middle East, Africa, Haiti, Venezuela, Colombia, Ecuador, Germany, Russia, China, they will slaughter our people. They will slaughter them because they've all come here for a reason. You believe it's for whatever. It's to take over our country. And again, I come back to the same question. If you do not agree with my conclusion, then why don't you tell me what the hell's going on? And you can't.
And for closing, hey, JJ, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. And also for those that want to see the documentary Traffic, please go to thisistreason.com. And at checkout, use the code Torres15. It is TORRES, all caps, 15. I said again, TORRES 15 for 15% off of the purchase of the documentary Traffic. You have two options. You got the $9.99 and you got the $14.99. The $9.99 is just the documentary. If you get the $14.99, you get the documentary with extra behind the scene footage, interviews. It is like 10 interviews, well over 20 of interviews when you get the VIP. I highly encourage you do that. It's very, very revealing documentary, well put together. And JJ and his business associate, Mara, they did a great job by calculating a bunch of information regarding what's going on at the border, where these children are being distributed within the United States. And for closing, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Also share this video. I really appreciate for all of you. Thank you so much.
No, I just appreciate the time and the wide berth you give me to be able to articulate exactly what I want to say. I appreciate that, man. And I look forward to speaking to you again. Thank you.
From the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. I'll see you in the next video. Take care and bye-bye.